All right, say goodbye to Twitter's famous blue bird, at least for now. Tech billionaire Elon Musk making a splash once again by axing the social media platform's logo and name. Twitter is now X. Musk hinted at the change when he first bought the company last October, and he tweeted on Sunday that the change reflects his love for the letter X. So, what does it all mean for the future of X? For that, we bring in Julio Sevilla. He is the Associate Professor of Marketing at the University of Georgia. Julio, thank you so much for your time today. So lots of people are wondering about this. They're saying, okay, is this change permanent? Is it a marketing scheme? Or do you really think this change is long-term?
I think it's probably going to be long term unless Elon Musk at some point decides to sell the company. As we know, he paid a high amount, $44 billion. At that time, it was overvalued. So he overpaid for Twitter, but he had a personal interest in it. He was one of the most popular figures in the platform and has been making some controversial statements. So now he comes, and change the name of the company. I think that as long as he stays as the owner, he's going to keep the name because he has had this obsession with the letter X for more than 20 years. At some point, he actually wanted to call PayPal X when he was the CEO of the company, and it brought him some trouble. He was, he was out. So I think it will be interesting to see what happens, but he'll probably try to double down on the letter X for the platform.
Which will be really, really interesting. I know that the company is private, but I have to question what investors think of this. Now, I know that they spent $44 billion to buy the company. And like you just said, he expressed his affinity for the letter X. He wanted to call PayPal X. Some of his other companies also contain the letter X in their names. So taking all of this into consideration, Julio, what really is the benefit of a rebrand here? Is there anything behind this in terms of marketing?
I think it's a bad decision from the marketing standpoint because he paid $44 billion because Twitter is a respectable brand. Many people know it. As you know, many people in media, celebrities, academics use it, and it has had some credibility, right? And that's where the famous check, the blue check, comes into play. But something he did was to get rid of it as we know it and started selling. So it took some legitimacy out of what Twitter stands for, and he's doing something similar with retiring that name. He paid a lot of money for it, probably overpaid for it, and now he's doing away with the name. So he's giving away some of the value that he bought, and I think psychologically it's going to have a bad effect on the company because, as we know, they have been losing some traffic, 6-7% of users since he acquired it. They've also lost, according to his own reports, around half of the revenue. So some people are wondering whether they should stay on Twitter. And I think the fact that he now makes it concrete that Twitter is no longer Twitter, it's X, is going to make it easier for several people to just, flee to other platforms like Blue Sky, which is supported by Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter. There's also Threads by Meta, Mastodon, which has some functionality issues, but it's also a platform that has some credibility. So I think this is going to increase the loss of subscribers or users of the platform.
Right, so you're saying that this is still a competitive space. You're talking about Mastodon, you're talking about Blue Sky, and then you're also talking about Threads, which is by Meta. But let's think about Meta for a second, because Meta is the parent company of Facebook. Facebook went through a name change. So do you think that this could eventually help Twitter? I mean, what is it going to take to rebuild the brand recognition that Twitter is so used to? Twitter at this point, or to tweeting has become a verb. Do you think Xing will ever gain as much notoriety, or do you really think this is the nail in the coffin for Twitter?
I think he mentioned, right, Elon Musk, as you said, that now it's going to be called X. I'm not sure it's going to be the nail in the coffin. I think it's probably going to stay around for a while, and at some point he may decide to sell the company in a few years, and who knows, maybe they bring Twitter back. You were mentioning Meta did change their name, but it's because they had to diversify their portfolio, right? Facebook had a bad reputation in some circles, but they also have some other brands like Instagram and WhatsApp. So Meta is not a platform, it's just the parent company, right? And they have these brands that some of them may perform well, some of them not so well. So they didn't want to have their destiny tied to Facebook. Google did something similar with Alphabet, right? They had a parent company. But in this case, it's a very different situation. You're actually changing the name of the platform, which has some value. Musk mentioned that he wants to make it even bigger, right? Something similar to WeChat, which is a platform where you can actually make purchases, order food, use ride shares. But that's something that has taken off in China. It's a developing country where when people get their cell phone, that's their first access to the mobile world. So it makes sense that a big firm tries to get all of that business. But in the US, we have Uber, we have Grubhub, we have Venmo. So it's very hard for him to actually create that super app called X that he's
But do you think
planning
that
to.
do you think that that's what he's doing here, though, Julio? I mean, he says that he eventually wants to turn X into a quote everything app like China's WeChat. And if Meta is the parent company to Facebook and a bunch of other platforms, does this change actually put him closer to doing exactly that?
So I think in terms of the name, it does, right? Because you would say Twitter is the sort of media or news type of social media. So you wouldn't think about Twitter to order food, ride shares, etc. So from that standpoint, I guess it makes sense. But then why did he buy Twitter to start with? You would say, okay, maybe it's human resources. He actually had 7,500 employees. Now he has 2,000. He has changed a lot of the aspects that give credibility to a platform. So you would say maybe he should have just started something from the beginning, right, and not spend all this money to buy Twitter. And as I said before, I think it's going to be hard to create this super app just because we have a very mature market in the US, right? The US is very different than China. Where, as I mentioned, many people haven't had access to the internet. So there's a big opportunity for that super app. But here in the US, almost everybody uses the internet. There's a lot of competition, so it will be very hard. So why wouldn't have Facebook done something like this, right? Facebook has 3 billion users. Instagram has 2 billion. Twitter only has 200 million, right? So why hasn't Meta done something like this? And why would Elon Musk be able to do it with 200 million and potentially diminishing users?
I mean, these are all great points that you're making, and Elon Musk definitely does not come without controversy. So we shall see what he decides to do next. Julio Sevilla, thank you so much for your time and for your insight. We appreciate it.